Today I want to talk about the second pillar of my business, and that is intimacy and intimate partnership, i.e. relationships. Now, whether you are in a relationship or you're not in a relationship, I am sure that you have experienced pain in that department. Because relationships is a place which asks of us to be vulnerable and open in order for us to go from friendship to intimate relationships. You can't have an intimate relationship if you're not willing to open up the heart space. Now, when we do that, we sometimes get hurt. Now, if we've been hurt in the past, what we tend to do then is close that door, and then the next time you try and get into a relationship, your heart's going to go, oh, yep, remember last time, it was terrible, let's not open that space again. So what happens then? Well, there will be a lot of fear in those relationships. Most probably it won't be that intimate, and most probably it won't last. So today I'm going to give you my 3 tips on how to create an absolutely unbelievable relationship. Now, the first pillar of these 3 steps is this. You need to have a relationship with yourself. Now, you've probably heard that a million times, and that's why the first pillar of my business is relationship with self. Because you can't give something that you don't have. How am I going to give love to my partner if I don't feel love for myself? I can't. It's like I have an empty box. I'm kind of trying to give things from the box, but there's nothing in there. It's exactly the same with love. So if you don't have unconditional love for yourself, there is no way that you can give unconditional love to your partner. And what tends to show up? Fear. Because if you don't love yourself, what's the opposite of not loving yourself? Well, mostly not liking yourself or fear-based emotions. Always. It's either love or fear. There's nothing else called, oh yeah, people are really bad or evil. No, I truly believe everything is based on love or fear. Think about it. What's the area of your life that's not working? There is fear in that area, right? So if you don't love yourself, then obviously you're afraid they're going to find out that you're not good enough. Therefore, there will be fear and insecurities and all kinds of crap showing up in your relationship. So number 1, work on the relationship that you have with yourself. And for that, you might need some help. Because our brain wants to go back to the past and our past experiences, and so you wanting to create a new identity is really hard to do on your own unless you are committed 100% and you do all of the work every single day to reprogram the brain. Sometimes you might need help for that, and that's why I'm here. First pillar, definitely self-love. Unconditional. Because unconditional self-love leads into unconditional love with your partner. Now, when we come to the unconditional love with your partner, it's now moving into the second tip. The second phase is rules, regulations in your relationship. Now, for a lot of people, it's really hard to not have rules and regulations. And just understand that if you have rules and regulations right now in your relationship, you're watching this, 100%, and I'll say that with passion, 100% is because you haven't done number 1. Falling in love with yourself. Can you see if I'm completely in love with myself and I'm completely unconditionally in love with me, everything else that happens in my life is a bonus. My relationship is a bonus, which means I don't have to have rules, regulations, and this is how it has to be in order for me to feel loved, and if they don't do that, then I don't feel loved, I don't feel seen, I don't feel valued. You don't need any of that from the external world. You've already given to yourself in point number 1. Now, the bonus that comes with getting love from your partner is lovely, but you're not attached to it, which means you don't have rules and regulations in your relationship. Now, a lot of people struggle with getting their head around this, and I don't get it. If I don't have rules, then how does it work? Well, because you trust that the relationship is built on unconditional love for each other, which means that you don't have to have the rules. It doesn't have to, the person doesn't have to show up a certain way in order for you to feel fulfilled, because you've already fulfilled yourself. This then leads into my third point. So the third point in these 3 points is this. See your relationship as a unit. Now, what I mean by this is, if you can see your relationship as a unit, you'll have so much more patience in that relationship, because if you see your partner as he's one person and you're one person, then that person doesn't do something that you don't like or whatever, and there becomes conflict. And a lot of people in relationships get into the five horsemen, one of them being, stonewalling, where you shut down, or defensiveness. So you're throwing shit at each other. Or you didn't take out the trash, or you didn't do that, why didn't you do that, da, 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 da. So you're two individuals throwing things at each other. Now, what I'm inviting you to do for my third tip today is create a unit. Imagine that your relationship is like this. It's like a unit. Now, what does the unit need? Not what do you need to do in order for me to be happy, conditions, right? What does the unit need? Well, the unit, mostly, if you have a fulfilled relationship, it needs intimacy, it needs partnership, it needs trust, it needs independence, it needs all kinds of different things, right? Honesty, right? Whatever it is that your relationship needs, look at what it really needs and then think, how can I contribute to bringing that flavor even more out of this unit? Not like, what did that person have to do in order for this flavor to appear? No. Because here's the thing. If you give, your partner also wants to give, because that's one of our human needs, is to give back, right? Like if you get a gift from somebody, don't you feel like, oh my God, I want to give them something? Contribution is one of our human needs. So if somebody contributes to you, you want to contribute back. So if you put unconditional love and honesty and whatever it is that you want to put into your partnership, your partners want to do the same thing back. But now it's not because you're asking the partner to do it. You don't have this rule that you have to do it. They're doing it because they just want that. And now both of you start to feel happy in the relationship. Then you don't have to worry about your partner going off cheating with someone else. Why would they? If the unit is magical, if you have this incredible connection in this unit, why would your partner go and see somebody else? Do you see how these 3 little tips can magnify your relationship? And if you're not in a relationship right now, you can look at these things. Did they appear in the last relationship that you were with, or that you were in? And how can they appear in the next relationship that you're going to get into? And if you're in a relationship and there's pain, add these 3 flavors into your relationship. Number 1, work on self-love, right? Self-love is the absolute number 1. Number 2, no regulations, no rules, none of that in your relationship. And number 3, create the unit of your partnership and watch your relationship flourish.